everybody, welcome to this episode of KCTV. My name's Kiejah.
This is Conley.
And this episode we're actually going to go through, just sort of talking about relationships in general. And we're talking as far as emotional relationships, whether it's with your spouse, or emotional relationships as far as like, your friendships.
And how some relationships end badly.
Right. The reason why we started talking about this was I have been following the unfortunate, sloppiness involving Hank Williams and Kendra Wilkinson and his transgendered, allegedly, transgendered, relationship.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah, it didn't happen. For those of you who don't know the story, I'm going to go ahead and tell the story as far as what I do go ahead and know. I'm going to go ahead and be really dramatic about it, and I'm probably going to add a whole lot of alleged to it, so we don't get sued.
Don't worry, we're going to have a counter, so then you can enjoy the show.
Thank you! So, Hank Baskett and, Kendra Wilkinson, were known to go and be married as far as reality stars. Hank Baskett used to be a, pro football player, and Kendra Wilkinson was famous for being one of the girlfriends, Hugh Hefner's girlfriends from The Girls Next Door. And, they actually met, on the show, they got married, and now they have their own reality show on the WE network called Kendra's on Top. While in the middle of taping, I was like, Kendra, who was 8 months pregnant, Hank Baskett, allegedly, found this other female who was also another YouTube transgendered model.
Hey, wait. What was the name of that other show again?
What? Kendra on Top.
Not anymore.
What? We're getting there. So Hank Baskett ended up finding, this transgendered model. And the transgendered model, I will go ahead and give her, props. I mean, she looks good. I don't know if she's pre-op, post-op, whatever, but she looks amazing. I will go ahead and tell you, right now. I don't know what's going on there, but, she looks fantastic.
It's just like our last conversation. Not all transgenders look like dudes.
Thank you. I was very, very feminine. Not even a trace of Adam's apple, nothing. Hank Baskett ended up going and contact her and be like, oh, you're really pretty. I was like, I think you're really attractive. And of course, there was some flirtation going on. And then the transgender model ended up saying, hey, why don't you go ahead and come over? Allegedly. So about a week and a half later, Hank, allegedly, showed up at the house. I was like, actually met them at the door in a bikini because her friend was, was swimming in the back of the house, in the pool, allegedly. I was like, Hank and the transgender model, I was like, went upstairs, allegedly, where the act actually happened. It took all of allegedly 10 minutes, which doesn't really say much for Hank's prowess. So he allegedly left her $300 on the nightstand. I was like, as a quote unquote gift. And then about 2 weeks later, when it all came out in the National Enquirer, because she's a thirsty thought. It's and of course, this is a huge story, so of course she went to the tabloids, allegedly, to sell her story. And, he, and his people...
and she had proof now. The $300, she had proof.
Yeah. I was like...
Dumbass.
Right. I was like, so he and his people, allegedly, contacted her for another $1,000 as hush money. But it doesn't matter, she's still going talking. Now, I will go ahead and say that the first thing that pops into mind as far as this particular story is, one, if it is in fact true, Hank Baskett, ain't no good gonna come to you till you do right by your spouse. Yes, I don't like cheating. I don't give a damn if it was a transgender, if it was a female, or if it was a male. You stepped out of your marriage. Period. I don't give a damn what the circumstances were. I was like, secondly, as far as the transgendered model, again, she looked absolutely beautiful, but in the name of Nene Leakes.
Close your legs to marry men. Close your legs to married men, trash box. Close your legs to married men, trash box.
That's the thing though, with me, well, as you know, I've been married, and when me and my ex, we ended up splitting up and everything, I found the divorce process was such a pain in the ass, and it still is. Mm-hmm. That even though I was dating other women, I was still married. However, like I said, I was one of the few exceptions to that rule as far as you should be together with your spouse no matter what and everything. Just because I've seen chaos happen, I've seen the bull, I've seen the ups and downs of it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not condoning cheating. I never will. However, there are some exceptions outside the law as far as marriage goes. Because I'm sorry, if you're married to your spouse by paperwork, but not through feelings, you're not married.
Yeah, I mean, I do go and understand that. And plus, we will honestly never know as far as the agreement, or the emotional agreement or the physical agreement between Kendra and Hank. Really, the only people that really know the arrangement on that marriage, is, Kendra and Hank. Those are the only two. And, also, by the way, allegedly, when Kendra went in and found out, and she actually found out, by the tabloids. Can you imagine? Could you imagine, being, Kendra Wilkinson, or being, any wife, you come out, on your deck, you go and sit down, you have a muffin cap with an orange juice, maybe a coffee, maybe a biscotti, you go ahead and, pull out, the New York Times, or, the New York Daily News, and there, splashed across page 6, there's your husband, having an alleged affair with a transgendered mistress. I mean, that's sloppy. So allegedly, when she found this out, she immediately confronted him, and he went in and denied everything. I was to her, but he wouldn't really fully confirm it. I don't know, what the transparency was, obviously because I wasn't there. But, it was apparently messy enough to where she got pissed off, where she was I'm done with this. Took her ring off, allegedly. Threw it, in the toilet, allegedly. And then threw, all their photographs, all of, their wedding photographs, into the pool! And you could tell that it was really bad because, I remember before the story really broke, I think a week prior, they had photographs of him with his, assistant that they both, that was assistant of, Kendra and, Hank. They both stayed, at some ratty, motel that was, 5 minutes away from the apartment. And I thought to myself, what the hell's going on, there? That he's going staying at some ratty-ass hotel, an apartment. That was my initial thought. And I'm ooh, went down. I was went down? I was yeah, allegedly.
Well, I don't know about that whole thing. As far as the whole, I'm still stuck on the fact that the guy paid her $300. That would mean, I would think that would mean she's a hoe. But if she was a hoe, then that would mean she wouldn't have gone to the tabloids. Because we all know, when it comes to hookers and everything, you don't pay them to stay. You pay them to go the way and stay the way.
Well, no, I'm just let me tell you something. I was just because she was a whore, that doesn't mean that she isn't a famed whore. There are many different avenues.
The video vixen.
Thank you. Superhead. I don't care, listen, like we said before, we are very pro-whore, in this, show. Okay, it's we are very pro-whore. But, what I'm not about is throwing anybody under the bus, to try to go ahead and make a name for yourself. I was you're basically making a name for yourself, not in the most honorable way. I was it's not say, porn actresses who actually do it for a profession. There are cameras that are lighting. And I understand that it's still, has a negative, it's still taboo, but at the end of the day, there is still a profession for you to go with, as opposed to, just sort of, sleeping around with a bunch of guys and then telling business that they intended never to get out, and that they intended for you, hey, listen, we'll go ahead and break you off, we'll go ahead and take care of you, just keep your mouth shut, and she chose not to. I was she smashed, the homie, and then the homie's homie, and then wrote a book about it, and then everybody, read it, because it was so salacious.
And then, she proceeded to do it again.
And again.
How many books has she written?
Frankly, way too many. Especially for someone who really isn't literate. Have you seen her do interviews? We are more eloquent than she is. My whole thing as far as, relationships, I'm I've had, a few relationships where I've been betrayed. And then, for a while, it was, before I met, a serious relationship. I didn't really know what a good relationship was. I honestly thought, before I met this guy, that, I thought there were certain people that were good, relationships, and there were certain people that deserve relationships, and then there were some that, just weren't good at relationships and didn't need to be in them. And I honestly thought I was the latter. I didn't think that I was good enough to be in a relationship. So I just had made the resolution to just be and stay single.
Because he's an idiot.
Really? It was only until after I met that guy, I'd say about a year and a half later, after a very, very tumultuous relationship. And I'm talking the last relationship before the good one, it was bad. It was abusive in every single way. I was I'm sorry, but when you have to go to the police officer, because your car is missing, and you knew that he was the one that took it, and you knew that he was hopped up on whatever drugs that he was on at the time. I was and you have to go to the police station to make sure that he wasn't picked up last night. that's dysfunctional. So after that one, I said, I just want to be alone. I was like, after that, I'm like...
Now, mind you, during this entire event, he didn't tell me a damn thing about this. Otherwise, that guy probably wouldn't be around anymore.
So, at the end of the day, I was like, when I finally met this guy, I was like, I finally met, a guy who actually treated me, with respect and with love and with dignity. And I had never had that before, and nor did I know how to take it, quite frankly. And it was basically a learning process. For me and for him. Now, mind you, even though we
more him than the other guy.
Well, no, I think for both of us, because I think, our age difference was also a factor as well. Like, he honestly thought because of my age, I was going to go ahead and run out cheating on him, because he's been that too. So I think we both learned from each other as far as what loyalty was. Now, mind you, we didn't necessarily make it as a couple, like we broke up like 9 months later, but we've also been friends for over a decade. I mean, to this day. We call each other pretty much every day and every other day, and we gab for no better reason, other than to go and gab and catch up. And I very much have a lot of love and respect for this person. I was like, and that will be the same, and that will never change until the day I drop. I want him to forever be like a piece of my life and my existence. Well, as long as I walk this earth, it's like, for what he showed me and for what he did for me, as well as be a benchmark as far as what the standard is today for me, as far as what I expect from a man, I will forever be grateful. It's like, as far as like, Kendra and Hank Baskett situation, I mean, we honestly don't know like the confines of what like their wedding, as far as like their marriage is, because let's be honest, Kendra was no like innocent either. Yeah, she's like a mother of 2 now, but remember, she started from the Playboy Mansion. The Playboy Mansion. Okay, it's like, this is also a girl who had like a couple of like sex tapes going like floating around before she hopped into the Playboy Mansion. So she was no innocent necessarily. So I don't know if necessarily it was a situation where they had like an agreement. I mean, I obviously not. It's like allegedly. But, my thing is that, I personally don't care, I was like, I personally don't care what, like, the circumstances is. I'm like, I don't want to go and hear about people, oh, well, she never touched me, or, oh, she never, like, when he showed me love, or he never showed me love. It's like, so I went somewhere. Well, before you take that step, at least show enough respect for yourself. Not for the other person, but for yourself. I was like, when I was in, like, the very bad relationship, he accused me of cheating on him every single day. Every single day, I think, for about, like, 6-7 months. And at the 7-month mark, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and cheat on him. I was like, and I did. And out of the many things that, I have done, like, in my life, that's one of the few things that I actually regret. I should have had the balls to come up to him and be like, you're treating me like crap, and I deserve so much more than this. And seeing as how you're not going to change, I'm out of here. I was like, I should have had the strength and, quite frankly, like the courage to say that and stand up like a man, instead of, being a wimp and giving him an excuse, to go ahead and, like, break up with me. Which basically, all it was he didn't end up breaking with me. It just gave him, like, a stick to be more abusive than what he already was. And I ended up breaking up with him anyway. So, I was like, what exactly did we accomplish? However, the relationship with the good guy, when I saw things were going south and I didn't think that we were going to make it as a couple, I was like, I immediately sat him down and I said, you know what? This is not going to go ahead and work out for me because of this, and this. It's like, I still love you and I still care for you very much. I was like, and to this point where, I was helping him, like, with certain situations that, were in his house, as far as changing light bulbs, and going and, like, running him, and helping him, like, with certain, like, electronics and, things like that. I still care for him. I was like, but the main difference...
And helping him every once in a while with a random taser. But...
I was like, we're not gonna go there.
I'll say it again, did he twitch?
At the end of the day, I was like, I still go ahead and, like, care for him, and I'm still a very loyal... I consider myself a very loyal person, and for me, I was like, me breaking up the way I did with the good guy, it had less to do about breaking up with him, letting him down easy, and more to do with respect for myself. Because I was like, I'm not going to make the same mistake I made with the bad guy. I'm not going to give you like an excuse to go ahead and say, oh, well, you're a rat bastard. Just like, I can't trust you. No, it's like, in that relationship, I was, and I stand by that I did absolutely nothing wrong in that good relationship. I was like, maybe I was a bit impulsive, and maybe I did have a little bit of a temper, but I never cheated on him. I still love him to this day. I was like, and I'm still very loyal to him just as an individual. And I think that's what, relationships and frankly, friendships is all about.
The thing is, there are lots of different phases in the relationships. You have the beginning phase, which I actually heard some Spoken Reasons. He's another YouTube channeler.
No, you ain't talking.
What?
Every time I ask you what's wrong, you say
Nothing.
The f you mean nothing?
Who you getting loud with?
You.
Watch it.
I hate when you women do that. If a man asks you what's wrong, just say it.
Well, if you're my man, you should already know. Read my mind.
Read your mind. I ain't a bot.
He actually went on relationships one time, and he said the very first phase is the cupcake phase. Mm-hmm. That's the one where you love them, you respect them, you want to be with them, you don't want to let them go. Every little thing's cute. You want to be like, oh, like you just want to be together. That's the cupcake phase. That is at around between 8 to 10 months. Mm-hmm. And I say that because every relationship I've been using around the 9-month mark, that's when you figure out whether or not you want to be with the person.
Right.
Then you go to the real. There's when the person finally starts to come out with. And that's when you're dating. That's when you're still, like, for example, me and you, we could be living in our parents' house. However, 9 months, 10 months into it, they're going to think about moving in together. Then once you move in together, you got to figure out whether or not you can still stand each other long enough to be together in the same house for that long. Mm-hmm. Then after that, there's marriage and so on and so forth.
That does it for this episode of KCTV. If you want to go ahead and have any questions that we have to go ahead and make, or any comments that we may go ahead and have, or any of your thoughts as far as relationships or friendships, leave it in the comment section down below.
Also, if you'd like to contact us, we always have our Twitter and our Yahoos or anything else to email us. Just let us know, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.